Hello.
Hello, Marlon.
Hello. I love that we are welcoming you to a new episode of Every Day's a Train Wreck with your conductress, Marley Major, and a very long time fabulous friend that I 100% have always had a girl crush on. And then the most important part about the whole thing, because we can't say his name on camera because, well, just it's so stupid. But anyway, so our code word for the person, the USC person that we were discussing before, is Wanda Dangerous. And it's hilarious to me that Wanda Dangerous is, I think, maybe more excited about this than even I am. So Wanda Wen from Soolip is beyond. I don't even know how to describe what you do. I mean, other than I will start with it's like Paper Source on steroids, but it's more like Paper Source on Louis Vuitton magic mushrooms. Like it's just magic. And you have a book and you're like just cool to your core. So Wanda, I'm so glad to have you on and jump in.
Well, thank you, Marley, for such an amazing introduction. And yes, it's hard for me to even describe myself. People say, well, what do you do? And I say, well, I have a paper store.
I'm a temptress. I'm a paper temptress.
I have a paper store, and that's about all I can say.
No, it is not.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a paper store. I've had it, Marley, it'll be 30 years in June.
And you know, when you were on Melrose, where are you right now?
So I'm in Westlake Village.
Got it. Okay, so my daughter now is 16 and I'm scared to take her, but she and I are doing an outing, especially since you're being so kind about doing this. But she is, I mean, Miss Bougie Fest plus loves just beyond. And so I remember wandering into your store on Melrose and just, it was like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just it's just delicious. Like, because like regular words don't describe it. Like they always say Eskimos have like 1,000 words for snow and we have like snow and sleet. And that's how I feel about your place, because it's almost like you can taste it. It's that cool and that magical. And what's amazing is it isn't like, you know, you tie your packages with like fiber optic ribbon or something and they like jump. I don't know why it's so great, but just it's amazing. And then you were on my list to have on the podcast, like from super early on. I mean, when I just started it, but you are totally on my list. And then I said to Wanda Dangerous, oh my gosh, like, didn't you mention? And he's like, Wanda is literally so famous that I'm looking at Better Homes and Gardens and she's like the last page of the freaking holiday magical issue that I got at the airport. So it's not like I got it at some podunk thing. And I'm like, freaking, it's Wanda. And Wanda Dangerous is like, I know Wanda. Like, I was like, oh, excuse me, I beg your pardon. And anyway, it was just, so then that started this like amazing, like, hi. And I happened to get your email e-zine and it was just like 100% perfect timing. So number one, email marketing works.
Love it.
And number two, you're cooler than ever. But tell us your story. Like, how did you get into this? Not only how did you get into it, but it's another thing. Like you were before everybody was doing this stuff.
Yeah, I think when I look back at my life, and like I said, it'll be 30 years in June, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do for my 30-year anniversary? I'm going to ask you. In fact, you're the party goddess, so yeah. I'm going to employ you. Like
I'm going to comp you for free thank you for doing this interview.
So I just think back about my journey. And, you know, I grew up in a small town in Oregon called Grants Pass. And, you know, there wasn't a lot of art around me. However, there was a lot of nature. Right. And I spent a lot of time in nature. I did take art classes outside of my school. I was always drawn to beauty. But beauty not in the bling bling sense, right. You know, beauty in the earthy sense. Because, you know, I was surrounded by nature. I used to go river rafting with my sister Wendy on the Rogue River. And I was wearing Birkenstocks at 15. This is when in 19, I don't know, 1970
Wow.
when no one's wearing Birkenstocks, but
Right.
I love them. And I used to shop at this store called The Rare Earth. It was a record store, and they had all kinds of records and, sort of hippie type clothing. They had a whole like cases and cases of bongs and things. That wasn't me though. I didn't go that side. But there was something ethereal about it, and I love the earthiness and the connection to spirit. And that's, those are my first memories of just being interested in aesthetic, but on the earthy side. And,
Right.
and also when I think back, I remember in second grade, when we would exchange Valentine's cards. I don't know if people do that anymore. Do kids do that anymore, Marley?
Yeah, but yes, they do. If it's an excuse for my daughter to spend money, but yeah, they do, but it's different.
Right. So we would exchange Valentine's cards. I remember in my second grade, make an envelope and we'd tape it to our desk, and then you'd go around the room and put your cards in everyone's
Oh,
envelope.
right, exactly. And that was
Right?
the best.
Oh, so
Yeah.
fun. And I'd take them home. I'd look at every single one. I admired the cards, the front and the back, and I wouldn't throw them away. I would keep them, and I would cut out the little hearts or the flower bouquets. And I kept the family albums. So I would put them and enhance the family albums with these graphics. Even when I was young, 7 years old, I was always interested in paper and aesthetic and
Just
graphics.
naturally. Like nobody's saying it's not like your parents had a paper.
No.
I mean, you were just like, oh, I love that. Like it's going to start with Valentine's.
Exactly. And then, fast forward in my teens, I was an avid letter writer. I had a grandmother. I call them my grandmother and my Aunt Auntie, but they were Caucasian and were like adopted elders of my Asian family that lived in Yakima, Washington. And they were big letter writers. They had beautiful penmanship. And so we would write back and forth. And I carried my letter writing into even my college years. And traveled, or when my dearest friend, Elizabeth Hubble, do you know Betsy Hubble?
Of her, yeah.
So she also is a big avid letter writer, but we were close friends, and she would travel to Japan and she'd be in Prague. And anyways, so I was always a big fan of mail art, right? Like whenever I would travel, the place I would go would be the post office. Like if I'm in China, I'd go to the post office. If I'm in a little town in France, I'd go to the post office.
Very cool, because you would get stamps.
Well, yeah, I would get stamps. And I also like the post office is it's a bastion of culture, because if you look at all the stamps, it's highlights of that. Right?
I never thought of, but
yeah,
oh my gosh.
and what's important to that country, whether it's birds or the state flower or the wars they fought, or if they were into ecology. I mean, if you look at, I'm a big fan of postage stamps, right? So if you look at the postage stamps of America and you see them throughout the years, you see what was important and what they celebrated, what that country chose to celebrate.
That is the coolest thing. I never.
Yeah. And to this day, I'm a big fan of cards. I mean, that's how Soolip got started. I used to make cards. I think, when I was maybe 24, I became infatuated with letterpress printing, and I got my own printing presses. I was an apprentice at a letterpress studio in Pasadena, the Army Center for the Arts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've actually taken letterpress there.
You have?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I'm all about it. Like it's not like for my career, but that's how much I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So this is after I moved back. So from Oregon, I came down here to go to USC, the finance business major. I thought I wanted to go into, and work on Wall Street and make more money than any male in that, wearing those suits. I just wanted to beat them all.
Right.
And so I studied finance. And I remember halfway through my senior year, I wanted to look for an internship. Yeah. So I went to finance companies and banks and real estate, like the proper corporate entities. And I walked out. I remember saying, and I was dressed up in a suit. I was going, Wanda, this isn't this isn't for you. So I remember one day I walked to the California Mart, which is the fashion mart downtown LA, because I love fashion.
Yeah.
And I went to different showrooms asking if they needed part-time help. And then down the hall on the 8th floor in the A building, I saw this beautiful glow coming from this corner showroom. And I walked towards it. And lo and behold, it was a brand new showroom for Perry Ellis.
Wow. Okay.
And I walked in. They had just opened the showroom. There was a gentleman there named Rich Townsend, who I credit for him being my entree into this world. He actually went to USC. He was a USC alum. And I said, hi, my name is Wanda Wen, and I'm looking for a part-time job.
But you weren't. Like, were you or were you?
No, it worked.
No, like, but I'm saying, were you, like, you had, were you? I thought you were just like going in there saying you were looking for a new outfit because you didn't want to.
No, I was looking for a part-time job because I had my resumes and I just come out of a real estate.
Realizing, okay, got it. Oh, got
it. Probably, I don't know, Cushman Wakefield or something. I mean, like a serious place. So I walked to the California Mart, found the showroom, met Rich, and he hired me, knowing that I'd be part-time, but knowing that I'd be working full-time after I graduated. So I worked for Perry Ellis for 3 years.
Not doing paper, right?
No, I wasn't doing paper.
Creative.
Yeah, it was creative. I love the beauty and the clean aesthetic of Perry Ellis, right? Mm-hmm. So I worked in LA, then I moved to New York and worked in New York for him. And then I also worked for another designer called Steven Sprouse, who's now deceased, but he's the antithesis of Perry Ellis. But it gave me a complete range of Connecticut, clean, upscale to Steven got his start for designing like for people like Deborah Harry and Mick Jagger.
Yeah, literally, like I have had his stuff. Like, really, 100%. I mean, I had Sprouse suits that was like cropped here. It was like literally neon green.
Yes.
With his blotches and matching pants.
Yes.
And why I don't have it today, like I'm going to look for his stuff on Real as soon as we get off the phone.
Yeah. It's worth money.
Beyond.
Yeah, it's worth money. So I worked for him. And then when he closed, so I was with him for 3 years and we worked in Andy Warhol's old factory on 19th and Broadway. Oh. And it was a fun time of my life because here I was 24. I was the vice president of Steven Sprouse, and I was in charge of getting the 3 collections, the lower price casual collection, the medium priced bridge collection, like Steven Sprouse for business people. Yeah. And then the couture collection, which was the safety pin dress that Deborah Harry would wear, and the Andy Warhol sequin camouflage dresses. But I was in charge of getting it out into the world. Yeah. So I traveled a lot. Yeah. And anyways, after we closed, moved back out here and I went back to work for Perry Ellis. And that's when I said, you know what? I've always loved graphic design. And by then I really realized that I really loved paper. In fact, when I was still in New York, I said, you know what? There was this store called Kate's Paperie, right?
Like I
loved it. And I said, you know what? I'm going to just meet the guy who owns it. So I called him up and we met. He was Leonard Flax. He was part of the Flax family. You know, the Flaxes also had the San Francisco stores. But so I met Leonard Flax. We sat.
I'm Wanda. You just walked into the store.
Well, I mean, I called him. I got his number. I called him. I said, hi, I love Kate's Paperie. I'm going to move out to LA and I'd love to open a paper store. Can I just pick your brain? He said, yeah.
No way.
So we met at this little corner coffee house it was actually next to Steven Sprouse. And I remember it. And it was the two of us and we just chatted. And, you know, fast forward, I never worked with him after that, but it was great to meet him. And he was a legend and Kate's Paperie was a legend. Anyways, after I moved back to LA because I was dating someone who eventually became my husband, I realized, I want to learn about graphic design. And so I took graphic design classes at UCLA at night while I was working for Perry Ellis. And then I realized I loved letterpress printing. So that's when I became an apprentice at the Armory Center for the Arts. And then I loved it so much that I got 2 printing presses of my own, put them in my garage. I lived in North Hollywood. And that was kind of the beginning of Soolip. I just started making cards. I loved the whole thing of having these big
Yeah,
1-ton machines. I don't know if they were 1 ton, but they're hybrid.
they are probably.
Yeah. I mean, one was a Chandler and Price. It was a wheel press, and it was pre-1900s. It was
Oh my
beautiful.
God, it's amazing.
And then one was a flatbed press that I would make large things from. But I just loved being able to work with my hands.
I know.
And
I totally know exactly
right?
what you mean, where there's something, it's like the same thing of having your paws in the garden, or
Totally.
that it's just a totally different experience.
Totally. Yeah. Your heart and your head and
Yeah.
your body is in it. And then
Yeah.
you're fully engaged. Whereas,
Oh, you're fully engaged, especially with
right?
these machines. Yeah.
Like so many people live a life is very monotone.
Yeah.
And I see that. And it's very, to be a whole human being, you've got to like use all your,
Yeah.
all your facets. So
Yeah.
anyway, so that's in a nutshell, kind of the start of Soolip. And then I used to have a little drawer full of paper, never throw away paper scraps. If I was making a card, I'd have a stack of maybe 50 pieces of paper that were 3 inches by 2 inches. And they're so cute. And I would go, oh, I got to save these because maybe I can make gift tags with these,
Right.
or maybe I can make bookmarks out of these. And well, then that drawer full of paper became a closet full of paper. And then it became a room, an entire room full of paper. And Grant, my husband at the time, I said, well, let's just open a paper store. And that's when Soolip was started. That was in 1995.
Melrose Avenue, especially at that time. I mean, that was no fooling around.
Well, yes, you're right, Marley. And it was a certain part of Melrose. I could not afford that side of Melrose.
Well,
But
I'm sorry, but your part of Melrose was still pretty cool. I mean, I think it was, wasn't there an Earth Cafe, one of the early ones or
Well,
something?
yeah, but that was after I opened. So when I opened, it was in 1995. There was nothing over there except for across the street was this big blue whale, the Pacific Design Center.
Yeah.
But that was not happening. The energy wasn't there. In fact, it was an energy suck. So no one wanted, like where I was, it wasn't a hip place. It was like the derelicts. And so I was able to there was this little, I remember driving on Melrose. And of course, I wanted to be in the hot spot of Melrose, but I saw this little sign for rent and I inquired. It was this little building across the PDC. And it just so happened to be, it was like 900 square feet. And it was, I don't know, maybe $1,500 at the time.
Yes. I mean,
yeah. And I was able to afford that because while working and supporting the family with my fashion job, I said, okay, well, I could support that $1,500. Yeah. And so we took that space. And after a year, we just kept growing until, at the height of Soolip, which was 2007, really was the height. So we had like a fast growing 12 years. Yeah. And then it just like.
And was that because of the economy, when the economy tanked? Or
well, I mean, it was the economy. So 2008, we had a large corporate client that was over $1 million client, just that one client. And they just went kaput. And so I went kaput. And then Grant, my late ex-husband, went kaput. He passed away in 2007.
Oh my God. I mean, I don't want to say it's so interesting because that's probably exactly the wrong way to say it. But the more interviews lately I've been doing with, it's like, and that's why I call it Every Day's a Train Wreck, because when you look at everything from all these successful people on the outside, it all just looks like it was, pretty easy. Yeah. And it was pretty glossy, and you imagine there were a couple bumps, but like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like you lost your biggest client. It's the recession's about to come. You lose Grant. I mean,
yeah. And I had 3 young kids.
And you still got to hold it together.
Oh yeah, I got to hold it.
Bankers aren't like, oh yeah, okay, don't pay the rent or the mortgage or whatever. They don't. So what did you do? How did you pivot from that? Because that's like such a mental thing. Just then.
Well, just you know what, Marley, you just had to hang on. I mean, I had no choice because it's not like Grant passed. There was no life insurance. So, right. And so
Right.
I was on my own with the paper store
Oh
and
my,
3 kids. Yeah.
yeah.
So, and the digital world is coming on fast.
Yeah.
And as my son Odin says, he kept this year-long journal once that he shared with me, and he wrote something like, I give it to my mom for keeping it all together, all of us, just with a paper store when digital is like the next thing.
Well,
And here
right.
she is like holding our family together with a paper store.
And not just a paper store, but as you meant to bring it back, the paper store with the like pre 1900 machines. I mean, it
Right.
isn't even like you're kind
Yeah.
of like you could just do a software upgrade here and
Right.
be no, this
Yeah.
is yeah.
Yeah. So, but the paper store is, see, it's my heart.
Yeah.
That's what it is. When people come, and even when they come here, I mean, we're a smidgen of what we were on Melrose. Because at one point in Melrose, we had 5 stores along Melrose Avenue. We had 2 paper stores, an art gallery, the Gullo, which was a home lifestyle
Mhm.
store, and then we
Oh, I
had a
love that.
children's store across from Earth Cafe.
Mhm.
But this just goes to anyone who's listening, who's an entrepreneur or who's a creative, and they're looking for, well, how am I going to make the money? Well, yeah, the money will come.
Mhm.
The first and foremost is that if you're doing something from your heart,
Yeah.
the money will come,
Yeah.
because it's like, if people ask me, well, Wanda, how did you do that? How did you like raise the family? And I mean, there's a lot of train wrecks even in between that. But
There always are.
there
Right.
always are. Like, how did you manage partner, right? Your partner
Right.
passing, and what led to that passing, and then taking care of those 3 children and having a children out of wedlock. And that wasn't grants. And how did you
Right.
manage that? Like, how did you keep it all going? And we look at you and say, wow, everything is so perfect there. And it's not like I'm trying to create a perfect persona. I'm actually very open about my challenges. In fact, I love the challenges in my life because that's how I learn, right? I look at all these challenges that I've had, and I've had pretty deep ones, and I've been on my knees, but it's those times when I'm on my knees that
Yeah.
I learn the most. And
Amen
I'm,
to that. I cannot tell you how many entrepreneurs say exactly the same thing,
oh
that
yeah,
it is when you are 5 seconds, 3 seconds, 1 second from jumping off a bridge or giving up or just saying, I can't do it. I'm super compassionate about like home or like people on the street thinking, because there could be no difference really between them and me. I mean, yeah, sure. If you have all those things happen to you, how do you not just say, I can't do it anymore? Like, I am just, I mean, I've had times where you are just literally crushed by the weight of, oh my gosh, I've got it. This is what I've got to pull off tomorrow. I mean, I've been in times where I'm like, oh my God, I'm so happy when it's all of a sudden Friday night, because I know I'm going to have just a little mental reprieve on Saturday and Sunday from what's going to have to get done or earned to make it through the next day. So, how
yeah.
did you? I mean, you're on your knees. Okay, but what were you doing on your knees? What's the?
Well, I will say, I'm going to back up a little bit, because
Yeah.
after this one year in 2002,
Yeah.
2003, it's like,
Yeah.
it's like, that's when I turned myself on. Like, I had to be on, because I found in 2001, I
Yeah.
was separated from Grant,
Yeah.
my husband, who is also my business partner, and the beautiful father of Dag and Simone.
Yeah.
Simone's my oldest, and she was born the same year as Soolip. So she's almost 30. She was born basically a month after Soolip was born.
Of course she was.
But in 2001, Grant and I were separated, and then I became pregnant.
Jeez.
So I became pregnant, and Grant was not healthy, and he moved to the
Nor
East
was he
Coast.
happy, I'm sure.
He wasn't happy. He wasn't happy, and he wasn't healthy. And say this, love, I still love Grant, this with so much love and respect for him, but he moved to the East Coast, and I was by myself we had the 5 stores then. And I was by myself with Simone and Dag. And Simone was, let's see, probably 8 at the time,
How did
or
you, what do you mean? How did
7.
you, I know you're not moving to the East Coast. Like, he was your business partner still,
I
right?
know, but he was not functioning.
Okay.
He was not functioning.
Okay.
And so I
Now
was
you're
holding it all together. And so
okay.
Simone was, I think, 7 and Dag was 4 or 3.
Yeah.
And then I became pregnant with an old high school friend. And I thought, wow, and it was unplanned. And I said, there's no way I'm going to carry this through. Are you kidding? I mean, first of all, I had 2 young kids and I had the 5 stores, and, Grant's not doing well. And you know what, Marley? I was this close.
Yeah.
And Odin knows.
Yeah.
I was this close for Odin not being here.
Ugh.
And it's like, it's still, you could hear the quiver in my voice, but it still brings me to my knees, because I really had to dig hard. Okay, Wanda, if you're going to do this, then this is on your own. And had a lot of love for his dad, his father. And he didn't support it, didn't want to support the situation. And so I was really on my own. And probably everyone around me would think, Wanda, why are you so nice to that person? Because you know what? I just feel that everyone does the best they can. Now, everyone has their story, right? And I know his story too, to a certain point. It was not easy, but everyone has their story and everyone does the best they can. So the other thing is, why would I want to hold any grudge or anger at another human being? Because ultimately it's going to hurt me. Yeah. So to this day, I love him. I still do. And at that time, I really had to dig deep. And actually, it was Grant. He was still my husband, but he had moved to the East Coast. But it was Grant. He called me at 5 a.m. that morning because I had told him I was pregnant and that I was really struggling. And he called me at 5 a.m. on the day I was going to stop the pregnancy. And my appointment was at 7 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
And he said, Wanda, you are to have this child. I'm going to come and help you. So he did. He came back. He went to all my doctor's appointments with me. He birthed Odin with me in the birthing room. He treated Odin as if it was his child.
That's about the last thing I would have thought.
I know. I know. And Grant lived for another 4 years and then he passed, and he had an alcohol addiction and he could help everyone but himself.
Yeah.
And so
I think he'd have to move back to the West Coast. He'd have that is as big
he moved back to the West Coast on a boat. He had a sailboat in Ventura. We were beautiful friends. And I mean, he was my most beautiful, loyal friend ever. But he lived for another 4 years and then he passed.
God bless
Life
him.
took him. Yeah. And what would I have done had I not received that phone call? I don't know. It's like I was so 50-50. And everyone else around me really didn't support my decision to have the child because they were worried, because here I was already single with my 5.
Your train had already crashed. They were like, why
and they said, why do you want to have this? And more chaos. And, but I did. And I remember, because there was no one that I could consult. I remember I called you and
Exactly.
I remember buying the book Scarlet Letter during my pregnancy, because that's all, it's like I didn't have anywhere to go. And so I read the Scarlet Letter. I found strength in that. Just like, I called
that would have been like, oh my God, it's Wanda Wen on the phone. I'd be like, I'll take care of the baby. I can't take care of my own, but I would be honored to take care of yours. Like, yeah. Okay.
So I had this most beautiful child, and he is just a love. And after that year of being pregnant, first of all, those 2 months deciding whether I was going to continue this life or not. Meanwhile, looking at my 2 already beautiful children.
Right.
And then going through that pregnancy, being on my own, and then after that, I said, you know what? Like, there is nothing that's going to
Right.
scare me. Like, I can deal with
Just-
anything.
And at any point, so Grant says he's coming back, he's going to help. Did you still kind of say like, I don't know, or once you made the decision, were you like, I'm good?
No, no, I'm good. And it is what it is. And I just knew, like, it's almost as like I turned on the fire so hot inside
Yeah.
myself. And that fire was just my passion for life and
Yeah.
this human being. And okay, Wanda, they say this in AA, right?
Right.
They say in AA, they say, what do they say? I wouldn't give you this.
Yeah. Or like more than you can, I don't know,
In any
that
case,
you can handle.
right. So I just knew that the universe wouldn't give me this if I couldn't handle it. And
Yeah.
I would always say that to myself. And
Yeah.
yeah. And then, so
How were your other kids? I mean,
you know what? They were, I don't know, you can interview them.
I would love that. No, I would because I mean, not to be talking trash or whatever, but I
No,
mean, kids, I mean, I have three kids. I mean, they can be selfish, they can be whatever. I mean, I don't know. Like at some
Mhm.
point, are they all of a sudden like, this one's coming in? I don't know.
I think, and I will say this for any family or couple, let's say that's going through a divorce
Right.
or operating, that even though Grant and I had issues
Mm-hmm.
and alcohol was, I think, a big part of our problem,
Mm-hmm.
I still hold him high, even to this day,
Yeah.
because he is a beautiful human being. And you said this just minutes ago, Marley, that you see people on the street differently. Well, I see people on the street a lot differently because of Grant,
Yeah.
because he basically was on the street. He looked like the people on the street, and I
Right.
saw him. And yet he's got a beautiful
Right.
wife, kids, beautiful business. From the outside, everyone's thinking, oh, wow, we're the perfect family. We're in Flaunt magazine. I
Exactly
mean,
my point.
yeah.
Yeah.
And after just my experience with alcoholism as a codependent,
Yeah.
basically, I see people differently. And I have
Yeah.
so much more empathy for everyone.
Yeah.
And that's probably what led me to seek yoga and to really dive into yoga, because yoga, so I've been a yoga student for I don't know. I started practicing probably in the year 2000s. And I was a dancer way back when I was in high school and college.
Well, you were a
And
song girl at
I was
SC,
a
right?
song girl.
Yeah, because
And
that also came up when Juan Dangerous was like, "Oh yeah, she's hot too." No, I'm like, well, yes, she is. I'm so glad that's but
yeah,
anyway, yeah. Song girl, and especially in those days, the song girl at SC. I mean, once again, that was like, holy, I mean,
yeah, it was an amazing experience. And that experience was lovely. It was great. I had great experiences and a whole other story. But
yeah.
were we? I mean,
Well, okay, so we were talking about dancer, you jumped into
oh,
yoga.
so I jumped into yoga just to keep myself fit. And then it was in 2015 that I realized, you know what? I really want to dive in. And part of the reason is that I started doing journaling seminars, and I'd go to spas like the Calavi spa down in
Yeah.
San Diego, and they had me as a guest for a week. And I would lead people through journaling. I would help them make a journal, and then we would journal every day.
Yeah.
And that craft of mine just sort of came out. I don't know where it came, but it just came. But I realized going through that, I thought, you know what? I want to have something deeper. I found yoga. And when I started going through my teacher training, my 200-hour teacher training, it's like immediately, this is how I live. I just didn't know that there's this vessel that is it.
Meaning like what yoga encompasses.
What yoga encompasses. And basically, yoga, like, I didn't grow up with a religion. My family wasn't religious. My mother was a Catholic, but really not practicing. And so I always grew up with nature as my God, as my universe, and really myself as my God and my universe. Like, the strength is in here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And yoga is not a religion,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a way of living.
Mm-hmm.
And yoga really underscored that
Mm-hmm.
it's here.
Yeah.
It's here, your center. And
Yeah.
you could have, you could be a Buddhist, you could be a Catholic, you
Mm-hmm.
could be, a Christian and still
Yeah.
practice yoga. But
100%.
ultimately, it's like here, this is your conscious, this is your
Yeah.
center, this is your compass.
Yep.
So this is where I wanted to live for a long time because I was like, oh my God, how am I going to get myself out of this? How am
Meaning
I?
like live in Westlake Village, or meaning live under your
No,
couch or your desk
no,
there?
I just wanted to live like seen because here I was vulnerable. I had 3 kids and, one was a newborn baby
Yeah.
and Grant was still alive then. But 4 years later, he passed. And then I was by myself.
I love that you're talking about you just didn't want to be seen while you are being unseen. And I was like, is that some kind of metaphorical, like, let's just experience the whole thing where you're just going to disappear from the camera?
Well, because you don't, like, as a human being, you don't want to show your vulnerabilities,
Of
all right?
course not. Right.
Especially if you're a businesswoman and I'm a
Absolutely.
businesswoman, right? And you
Absolutely.
don't want to show your vulnerabilities also in front of your children because your children rely on you for
Absolutely.
direction and strength. And you don't want to show vulnerability with your colleagues or your vendors
No.
because they're the ones that are keeping you like floating, right?
Absolutely. Which is, it's ironic, right? Because the other side of it these days is in marketing and all this stuff, it's all about the story and it's all about, these other components to make yourself more real. Because I think we totally got away from anything that, was just all like, let's have the mega brands and that
Right.
was it. But you're exactly right. We don't want to show our vulnerabilities, which is very much like why I decided to lean into this whole topic of like every day is a train wreck and just show people, because what I realized is, because I mean, so much stuff with my stuff, it all looks so amazing. It looks, and you're just crying and dying on the inside, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're just
Yeah.
like, oh my God, talk about want to hide. Like, I want to hide and duct tape myself to the underside of my couch, right?
Right. Right.
Like, you just are like, how could I have been such a freaking flipping
Right.
idiot and on such a regular basis? I mean, at one point I literally said, I went to the doctor and I was like, do you think maybe I have Asperger's? Like, there's gotta be something that is, because my brother is totally normal. Like, what happened? I did not have like the water in Flint, Michigan. I was not abused. I was like, coddled and encouraged. And my Lord, how do you make such a mess out of all that? I mean, I went to cotillion. I know etiquette. I went to cooking school, and Lord have mercy, I still can't figure it out. No wonder I think I'm going to be homeless on the bridge. I mean, like, what the hell? And so
Yeah.
it's sort of like, because a lot of people, we don't know who's going to listen to this, right? And you and I both are very spiritual in that sense of, when the teacher's ready, the student will appear, or who's ever supposed to stumble upon this podcast or whatever
Yeah.
captivates them about this, or whatever friend mentioned, hey, and this is the episode they listened to, you
Yeah.
don't know, but it's so you're sort of just sending these
Yeah.
messages
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
to the universe saying, hey, listen, if it all feels messy and imperfect and like you're doing the wrong thing and all those things, I mean, my advice at the moment is just at least you're in the freaking game.
Yeah.
At least, right? At least the difference between, you're not saying, oh, it isn't so bad. I mean, I'm like, well, okay, there is some kind of circuit that is not wired right in my brain, right? But this too shall pass.
Yes.
And
This too shall pass.
this
Yes.
too shall pass. And sometimes it's just like, you're like, I just can't do it for one more minute. But,
Well, the thing is that I think in my hardest times,
yeah,
you just have to dig deep, and it makes you dig deep.
yeah.
I mean, really, really deep.
China. When you're a kid and they say, like, if you dig in a hole that you're going to like eventually get to China. I have dug to China. I want you to tell me. There's some times where I'm like, there is no deeper I can dig.
I saw you there. I saw you and I said, hey, you didn't see me.
Right. Oh my God. Hello. How are you? But here's the other thing too, that going back to that piece of like, especially when you're business women, et cetera. And I can think of,
Yeah.
like you're saying, like, and maybe many years ago for sure. But even to this day, like I can think of some of my biggest clients who are, huge clients. When we talk about like paying the mortgage and everything else, they're huge clients, right? And then I have a podcast now, and you sort of talk about all this stuff. But the thing that's interesting is I think of brands that I do business with or whatever, or people with them, because at the end of the day, even if it's a huge company, if it's Morgan Stanley, you still do business with the guy that at Morgan Stanley or something. And I still think we're not sitting here saying you're like, hey, I really don't know paper and I was pretending. I'm not sitting here saying I really don't know events. But I like to bet on the person that I know has already been through all that stuff, because guess what? Whether it's the wedding invitations or the book project or the event or whatever, that person is not going to give up. They're not going to give up on themselves. They're not going to give up on your project.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's kind of ironic, right? Because we want to have it just look like, oh, we just swim on the water and it all happens magically. But at the end of the day, you're the person I want to hire, because I know the press could blow up, the whatever. And, those invitations or packages or whatever commitment you've made is still going to show up.
Oh, yeah, it will. I remember one time, I'm reminded of this one time that a big social wedding in Aspen, and we did the invitations and all the paper in that wedding and a program for the wedding. And we overnighted it. It got there on Thursday night. And the bride's mother called me and said, because it was an 8-page program, and one of my lovely staff had bound it the wrong way, so that page 1 became page 8. And so it's like, oh my gosh. And it was bound with hand-dyed silk and everything. And there were 200 of them. And I got on the plane Friday, the first flight I could get. I went there. I sat in the room. I brought some new ribbon and undid and rebound all of those. And it was perfect. If I have to correct something, or if my client needs something, it will happen.
I mean, that's insane. Which is amazing, but it's kind of like, it's a little bit of a microcosm for everything you do, right? When the world is going digital, when you reach out for customer service, you're talking to a bot, you're talking to AI, you don't even know if you're talking to a real person. And then here you are with hand making invitations. And my God, that woman probably called you irate, thinking,
oh yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Not only, I'm sure the last thing she thought is that you're going to fly there and sit there and hand redo them at your, I'm sure it wasn't like, oh, ma'am, I can do it, but you got to cover my flight. I'm sure it was just like, we're going to get it done. Oh, yeah. And that doesn't even, it's just the values are completely intrinsically tied even to the core product that you do. It's like the back to basics. We're going to do the order. It's going to be right. We use quality paper, and quality everything else is going to go.
Well, the attention to detail. One time I remember, we were doing a lot of work with Lexus, and they needed something in Vegas. And so I actually flew a friend of mine from Chicago to rent the car and go to Vegas. So like, I'm okay about stressful situations or things that need to happen, because it'll get done, and we will do the best we can. Any human can, right?
Yeah. So that's incredible. But here's the best part. Then going back to the everyday is a train wreck analogy, I'm sure no one at Lexus had any clue other than the person that had to call you and say, hey, listen, or nobody at that wedding. No. All it was probably these are the most gorgeous programs and everything else. Yeah. And are they still married? That's what I want to know.
I think they are. But I've been in this business now long enough that I've done wedding invitations for one of the same people, but a second marriage. In fact, 3 of them, meaning that they got married, like, let's say 30 years ago or 25 years ago, and then they got divorced. But then one of them is getting married again. So I've done their wedding invitation the second time.
I was waiting for, how about if I say like, okay, and then you can do my third one? How many times? Yeah, I get it.
I haven't done third weddings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Not that I know of, that I've taken care of. I'm sure I've done third weddings for sure,
yes.
but
Yeah.
not that I've carried them through, I just wanted to, because just going back to like, how did you keep it all together?
Yeah.
Right? How did you keep it all together? When I wanted to throw in the towel,
Yeah.
Marley, as 2008 hit, right? It was the shit hit the fan. We lost 80% of our business.
Jeez.
I had 25 people full time. I mean,
I can't
yeah.
even.
And then I had my 3 kids and I was by myself.
The stores.
Yeah, the 5 stores. And I was in the midst of opening a store up in San Francisco at Gumps. Remember Gumps?
God, I do.
So anyways, and I did open that. It lasted for 3 years and it was beautiful. And then the president at the time left and the new incoming president wanted more dollars per square foot out of the 300 square foot that I got. So then we were done, but it was fine. It was fine. I didn't need more in my life. I actually needed less.
Yeah.
And, there were many times that I would say, okay, I'm done. I'm going to go get a corporate job. I'm going to be taking care, with corporate America and have full benefits and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like, I've got a college degree. I'll make more money going into corporate America.
I'm a song girl. On my eggs. Yeah.
Right.
Going.
But then something would happen. I swear, every single time the universe would send me something, whether it's, oh, Wanda, the New York Times wants to cover you. Or, this great order would come in from out of nowhere. Every single time. It's like, gosh, darn it, universe. Okay, I'll keep going.
And it's always something that's so good. It isn't just something like, oh, somebody wants a new book. It's like crazy.
Exactly. So then I would say, well, okay, Wanda, I'll keep going. And it still keeps going, and so here I am. And it's kind of a new era because now I'm a nester, right? So all my kids are grown and out and they're beautiful human beings. I did my job. Thank you.
I'll bet you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. And now I'm with George, who you've
been
met
with George for a while.
Well, I've been with George for almost 15 years, but he and I dated for a little bit. I'm from college, from USC.
Oh, okay. So I've got some follow-up to do. Okay, gotcha. Okay, there you go.
And George has been such a godsend in my life. He's like so stable and such rock in my life. And it's not that I'm not a rock. I am a rock.
No, I get it. Yeah, I know what you mean.
However, I also love the colorfulness of life.
You're an entrepreneur. You can't be a rock, but it's got to be kind of getting a rolling stone there to a certain extent because you just can't. Right.
Because no one in 1995 would have opened a paper store. No one. Except for someone crazy like me because I love it.
Because you're passionate and you're like, well, I'll just make the world see it and get it.
Exactly. I will make the world see it and get it. That is exactly it.
Period. Like there's nothing to discuss. They're going to get it because I'm saying it and they need to get it. So tell us what you're doing now. You've got a retreat coming up, right? Like tell us where we can find you, how we
Right. So slowly I've integrated my worlds. Yoga, paper, beauty.
Yeah.
And it's beautifully coming together. I have a retreat coming up called Seed, SEED.
Yeah.
It's a full day retreat. It's in Canyon. And this is our second Seed, our second edition. I created this with my good friend, Jen, who is a fellow mom friend from way back when. Our sons, Luca and Odin, her son, Luca, my son, Odin, were dear friends, and they still are since they were 3. Then created this company called Authentic Voice. She was a longtime educator, English teacher at Harvard Westlake and Archer School for the Girls. She stopped, I think she quit teaching maybe 3 years ago and created Authentic Voice. Authentic Voice is a methodology that she used with her students and now with adults to get people to dive into their subconscious and really self-inquire, self-inspire, self-transform. So together with my yoga and inspiring people to be creative and her writing, Gaji, we formed Seed. Seed is a full day retreat on January 25th.
Yeah.
Is an opportunity to nourish your soul, to be surrounded by nature and have movement. I'll lead you through gentle yoga. We'll hand make a journal that will be completely yours. You'll learn how to bind. You'll work with beautiful papers, a lot of creative elements to make it yours. Jen will lead you through prompts that will really allow you to dive deep and find the gems in yourself. And we will take care of you. And I guarantee you'll leave like a rejuvenated human being.
And so how do they sign up, or how do they
you go to soolip.com. So Soolip is SOOLIP, soolip.com. And you go into workshops. You'll see it on the top banner, and it's there.
What time to what time?
It's 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Okay, and tell me the date again.
January 25th. It's a Saturday. It's up in Temescal Canyon. And the only car you'll see will be maybe a couple cars from us, but basically you're surrounded by trees.
I love it.
Yeah, and it's a full day retreat just to rejuvenate yourself. We had the first one last August, and everyone just loved it. It just was such a beautiful surprise to everybody. The other thing too that you get is connection. Here we had 15 people join us. So it's intimate. It's not like we're trying to have 50
I want to go. I'm going to totally check it out.
It's intimate, and you will, because, and I know you believe this, like energy attracts like energy.
Absolutely.
Right? So you will be with a great group of people.
Yeah.
And it's an opportunity just to be open and honest and share and listen to stories and write and be fed beautiful food. Like a wonderful thing to do for yourself.
I love it.
At the start of the year.
I love it. Okay. And then are you on social media? If yes, where can we find you?
Yeah, I'm on social media. I have 2 accounts. One is for Soolip, strictly Soolip. So it's the @
Yeah, that's it.
So my Instagram is Soolip_, or you can go on my personal website, which I integrate yoga in there as well. So it's Wanda Wen Soolip. And then speaking about yoga, am working on, so I don't know if you know this, but I created a board game called Yoga Land, and it came out 5 years ago. No, it's been 6 years now. So it's called Yoga Land Game. And it has its own website, yogalandgame.com. It teaches the 8-limbed path of yoga. It's been wonderful. And I also see that it's a little bit too sophisticated for the normal person who's not going through a teacher training. The regular Yoga Land game is perfect for someone going through a teacher training or has gone through a yoga teacher training and wants to keep themselves fresh.
Got it.
Myself and Monica Leslie, who's a doctor of physical therapy and also a yogi and a dear friend. And Simone, my daughter, who's going to turn 30, who's also a yoga teacher, are authoring Yoga Land Junior, which is coming out later this year. It's a yoga game for the young generation.
I love
really
it.
Geared towards the 6-year-old to the 12-year-old.
I love it.
And I can't wait for that to come out, because I will say that parents are going to love us.
I'm sure.
No, they're going to love us, because what I find most profound about the whole world of yoga and the 8 limbs of yoga are the yamas and the niyamas. And the yamas are the first limb of yoga, and the niyamas are the second limb of yoga. And what are they? Well, the yamas are our external observances, how we treat others, how we treat all living beings. So they include things like ahimsa, which is nonviolence. And that includes not killing or hurting people physically, but it could also be turning it to ahimsa, not being harmful to yourself, not being terrible to yourself. Like, for instance, one thing that we, especially women, do as adult women, if we stand in front of a mirror,
Oh,
totally naked. We will look in the mirror and
right,
we will say, I don't like that chin over there, or,
right, right,
you're too fat, you're bulging at the seat. Like,
right,
we look at all the negative
right,
things.
right,
Well, think
right.
about it. We are energy. When we look in the mirror and we look and say to ourselves,
Yep.
you're bad, you're ugly, you're this, you're that. Well, think about it,
Yeah.
right? So, anyways, another yama, which is non-stealing, not taking what isn't yours. Now,
Mhm.
it could be physical things like, okay, don't steal my phone.
Right,
It
right.
could also mean don't steal someone's time,
Yeah. Ooh, that's a great one.
right? Don't steal someone's time.
That
Or
is a
don't steal the moment from someone. So let's say, I'm sure you've been in this situation where you're telling a story. Maybe you just went to the Galapagos. I can't even say that. I've never been there. Well,
yeah.
let's say you went to Iceland and saw what are those?
Volcano,
No,
Blue Lagoon.
the things in the sky.
Oh, Aurora Borealis.
Okay,
Yeah.
say you saw that. And maybe you just came back from that and you're saying, Wanda, guess what? I went there, I stayed in an igloo, and I'll right away say, well, yeah, I went there 2 years ago and I stayed in the
Right.
igloo, but I stayed in the igloo for 5 days, not just one. Okay, I'm being very over the top about that, but
Not
we've all
really.
been there,
Not
right?
really. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so don't steal someone's moment,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, there's 5 yamas and there's 5 niyamas. What are the niyamas? The niyamas are internal observances, how we take care of ourselves, how we conduct ourselves behind closed doors. So, one of the niyamas is saucha, cleanliness, taking care of your physical body, like making sure you shower, taking care of your clothes, taking care of your environment, making sure your environment is clean and orderly.
Hmm.
It could also mean your speech. Are you
Yeah.
talking smack about somebody else?
Yeah.
Is
Got
that
it.
really necessary? Is
Yeah.
that being harmful to that person? Right?
Yeah.
We've all been there, right?
Oh,
So santosha is another niyama. Santosha is contentment, right?
very
So
elusive.
finding contentment with what you have, being grateful for what you have
Yeah.
rather than always focusing on what you don't have,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yeah.
I
You're right.
mean, you could find, yeah, we all have so much.
I was just on a call earlier and we were talking and we were kind of goofing around with some other stuff. I mean, it was a business call and whatever. And then somebody was talking about how they had just interviewed this guy who was a quadriplegic, but from the neck down. And he was like, you guys, and it was just so, I mean, it was a natural part of the conversation that came in, but it was all of a sudden like, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like such an idiot for the stuff that we had just been talking about. And then he's saying how like people who are quadriplegics or whatever, I guess they only breathe out of one, or he only
Mhm.
has one
Yeah.
lung chamber or something. And, but you
Yeah.
need three. So if he would, but we have three. I don't know. So then, like, they would have to stop because he was congested. So his caregiver would have to like clear that. I mean, I was just like, talk about just the most basic things of just
Yeah.
breathing and talking,
Yeah. For
right?
sure.
Or just
Yeah.
listening. We're so
Yeah.
lucky to be able to do
To be
that.
having
Well,
this conversation. Yeah.
exactly. Well, speaking of gratitude, so grateful to you for being on. And everybody go to soolip.com and check out Seed for sure. And as I say, it was just a total pleasure. I can't say it enough. And I'll either have you back on or have those kids back on behind your back to just
Yeah.
the extra dirt, right?
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
hope to see you guys at Seed. And Wanda, thank you again.
Yeah. I would love to have you come. I
I
would
think
love to.
here we get off right now, and I'm going to check my calendar.
Yeah.
Like,
Come.
what's going to happen next?
And thank you so much, Marley.
You're
I
so
think you're just the coolest. And even though we haven't seen each other in so many years,
doesn't matter.
I think you're just the coolest. I love your brazen honesty. You make me laugh. And that's a good thing, right?
I think when you're purposeful about how you pick your friends, but I think when I knew, I always just admired you and liked you. We had that fun stuff, and I think it's one of those things where when you nurture those relationships for however amount of time. And then even if you step away from them, whatever, all I think you do is you later appreciate them a billion times more.
Yeah.
And you pick them up and you're like, oh my gosh, things happen in life, but it's like so grateful because we don't, it's really nice to have wonderful people that we enjoy and can count on and are happy to see and make us feel good. And all those things of the asas and the yamasas and all those other things we were just talking about, So maybe I can learn that in my journaling retreat or find my inner Asperger's or something. But I loved it. And thank you again for your time.
Oh, gosh. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Welcome.
I will see you soon. Okay.
All right. We'll see you soon.
Soolip.com and yogalandgame.com.
Yogaland Game. Yeah, I'm going to do that too. Okay, you guys.
Okay, bye.
Signing off. And don't forget to follow the show. Don't forget to leave a 5-star review. Don't forget to comment. Spread the word so I can put the last one through college. Okay, you guys.
Okay, bye.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.